What's up, everybody? Welcome to Just Because Gaming. My name is Michael,
And I'm Ray.
and thank you for joining us. As always, before we get into it, please like, comment, subscribe, follow on social media, go to the website, do all the things in all the places. And with that being said, we'll jump into it.
In one of our previous videos, we had a talk about how ASUS was supposed to be making these chips. That rumor was out there all over the internet. Lots of podcasters talking about it that were talking in the gaming regions, really hoping that that was going to be true. But according to another video we've seen recently, and that was not a very good source as far as accuracy for ASUS making the chips. And ASUS has actually come out and said, we're not prepared to do that. It would take us a minimum of 2 years to get, the infrastructure in place to produce chips. And it's not really our forte for what our, product-based knowledge is set up for. So it's not actually happening. ASUS is not going to be the savior of gaming that we hoped for. So we are going to have to just kind of work our way through this gaming chip shortage until hopefully we come out the other side of it and that chip bubble or whatever it is kind of busts and the prices come back down to more reasonable. I've heard a lot of producers saying they're trying to use older versions of the RAM chips in order to keep the costs down. But then why buy a new system that's got older tech in it when I can just continue on with the systems that I have?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've heard is that I think it's NVIDIA that's doing that they're reintroducing. I think it's the 3090,
Right.
and they're like, yeah, we have the 3090, and it's like, but why? And they're just because, oh, well, the other ones use VRAM, and that's what AI data centers need. And it's like, well, why not just still make the new ones even with VRAM? Because yeah, that's a nice feature, for consumers to have as well. It's like, you're making a really high-end video graphics card, and then you're making a really low-end one for consumers. It's like, yeah, we're making a steak dinner for all these AI data centers. It's like, oh, well, what about us? How you can have these hot pockets? It's like, why not just make more steak dinners?
Right. Yeah. Can they not ramp up production on these other video RAM cards? I mean, would it be cheaper to make? I mean, it's still got video RAM in the 40 series, but why go all the way back to a 30? That thing's like considerably outdated compared to what most people use now.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, yeah, it does suck that that's not true and that someone did the work of backtracking all those sources, because it was basically an echo chamber. And, to do the work of tracking back through all those things kind of reminds me of that song, heard it from a friend who,
Yeah.
it's like you're tracking down through all that to find out who was the core source. And yeah, to find out that it was someone that wasn't really respectable, that kind of sucks. And plus, I mean, there was some wishful thinking, I think, on our parts, where we were like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to buy some ASUS RAM. And when you think about it, it's weird that ASUS, at least in my mind, it's weird that ASUS couldn't make RAM, because I mean, I've seen videos of people, like a lot of, DIY enthusiasts, making their own RAM, like buying little chips and little circuit boards and making their own RAM. Now, I'm sure that it's horrible, that, like, as far as like error correction, it's failing, and as far as like speeds, it's lacking. But I mean, if John Doe DIYers can do it, and I don't doubt that ASUS has the RAM boards and has the circuits or the circuit boards and, everything. And plus, there's RAM in the graphics card. So it's like, I don't know. It seems weird. I feel like
it seems like they must be buying their RAM to use in whatever, their ROG Ally, their different components that they already have. They're buying that RAM from somebody else. They're not producing their own RAM yet to put into their own components. Maybe down the road, they will still look into doing that. Like they said, it would take them at least 2 years to get that infrastructure in place. But you're talking about, not producing 500 RAM chips a year or something like that. They want to produce, thousands. So you need an assembly line of systems, probably robotics and everything else to put these things together. Usually, most of these things have kind of a clean room set up and all that. So it's not, you got to limit the static and everything when you're working on all these microprocessors and RAM chips and these things. Some of that they probably have in place, but it's not geared up specifically to make that kind of chip. It would take them some time to set that up.
Yeah. I mean, there's part of me that's really curious about it because I'm looking right now at my own, video graphics card. And like, there's part of me, you know what? Maybe I'll just look up some YouTube videos about people disassembling their own graphics card rather than me trying to do it myself. But I'm very curious now. I'm like, do they just have like a RAM slot in their graphics cards for other people's RAM? Because I can't get my head around that. I can't picture that like NVIDIA or like MSI or ASUS or whatever that they're using other people's RAM. It
Yeah.
seems like that would be something that they would build all their parts. But I don't know. That'd be interesting. I'm gonna look that up later to see if there's like a teardown of
Well, yeah, there's got to be a
like
YouTube video where somebody breaks down one of those cards and shows you, hey, here's what's inside it and here's how it's put together. And that would be cool to check out.
because that's just really weird for me to think that like inside a graphics card could be like a Kingston, set of RAM or something. It's like that'd be so weird. I imagine that there's like the RAM processors like I was about to say welded, soldered directly onto the boards and everything. So yeah, I just that's weird. That's weird. I can't picture it.
Yeah, that's probably how it is. Just, here's this RAM chip soldered into a place, and it may not even look like the conventional RAM chips that we plug and play into our PCs because it's made specifically for that purpose. It's probably
Yeah.
smaller, more compact, or maybe double stacked and, half the size of the other ones. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it'd be interesting to see. All right. Also, some bad news in the rumor mill if you want. If you're interested in buying that Steam machine that's supposed to be coming up, it is leaked that the price on that is going to be quite a bit higher than what they were originally thinking. I think most people were saying around what, 700-800 bucks for that Steam machine.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's
it's supposed to be on a level of a little bit better than a PS5 Pro as far as power and capabilities. Not
I mean, dude,
drastically above, just a little above.
yeah, I've heard people speculating like 599, 699. So yeah.
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 Well, the rumor has it that it's probably going to be more like 950 to a 1070. That's quite a difference in price than what people are expecting. For a system that I'm not sure it can do much more than what the current consoles can do, and the games aren't there to do any bigger processing. I mean, the consoles we have now are not even being used for the limit that they have. You could probably go another 3-4 years on those consoles without having to upgrade anything.
Yeah. It's interesting. Part of me would love to see Steam really get into the console space and, be a serious competitor with Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah, they would definitely have to, eat some prices, and from what I've read about it, they're not exactly willing to do that. From what I've read online, Steam, they're willing to do like a price reduction a little bit, but they're not willing to eat entire like large parts of their cost and hope to make that up in game sales like what has previously happened with Xbox and PlayStation. Like from what I was reading, it said that that's a common practice in the video game console marketing space, is that you produce this console, you sell it for like a fraction of what it cost you to build, and then you build that, you basically repay yourself that loss. Basically what a loss leader is, you repay yourself that loss through video game sales. But Steam doesn't. They do have their own storefront and they do make a lot of money from their Steam store video game sales, but I don't think it's the same. I don't think they take the same like large cut that Xbox and PlayStation do of their games. Plus, well, there are
Steam
direct.
does Steam have its own studios where it's, they're producing a game entirely to where it actually all the profit basically goes to them? I don't think
Yeah,
they do. I don't know if they do, but
they do.
the majority of their
It's
games I think are from, third party.
well, the one that they have. So the studio that they have isn't a first party studio like how you have PlayStation where they have like Naughty Dog and stuff, and that's basically just PlayStation. And then you have Xbox that has Xbox Studios 343 and all that stuff. Steam, their studio is Valve,
Yeah,
the people who make Half-Life and Portal, but those games are also sold. Those are like it's their studio, but they produce it not just for Steam, but also for Xbox and PlayStation and anybody. I think even Nintendo might have Portal games. So they don't have a internal studio that does first party, like their own games that are console specific.
Right.
So if that started happening, if Valve was like, okay, we're going to make games and they're only going to be available on Steam, then that'd be something different. There are games that are only available on Steam, but those are more like, it's not that they're only available on Steam, it's that they're only available on PC.
Right.
So yeah,
So the Steam Machine is going to be sort of a PC hybrid console as well. Is that the way that's been developed?
from everything that I've seen, yeah, it's going to be like a, I don't want to say mini PC, but yeah, it's going to be like a PC console hybrid.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell, when you open it up, it will have its like Steam launcher and everything, but I want to say it will have PC capabilities, like kind of like how you were mentioning before in one of our videos, how you feel like that's what Xbox is going to do, where they're going to have like a desktop and you can like launch Internet Explorers and stuff like that, and search the web and do whatever. Like that's what the Steam machine's going to do. So, and honestly, I wish that wasn't the case for both of them, for Xbox and Steam. I hope that the next Xbox, and I wish that for this Steam machine, that they were specifically console, like video game console dedicated, that there was no like desktop to like fart around on, that it's literally just a video game launcher and the games. That's
Yeah. I
like
mean,
just something.
that's what people are looking for in a console. I mean, they're buying a console because it's cheaper than building a PC, or was. I guess still it will be with the cost of RAM and video cards going up so high. In order to build a PC now, it might cost you $5,000, whereas you're going to spend $1,000 on the next console. It's still working out to where, hey, this is the cheaper way to go, and this will get me gaming at a level that's close to comparable with the PC, because most of the games are being developed to work on a console at least. There might be a little bit of reduction if you don't have, but you got to have like a high end graphics card and all that to really reap the benefits of having a PC. It's not going to be the cheapest way to go. But this consoles have always been here's the entry level. You want to play games, your kids want to play games. Here's the way you can do it.
Yeah, if I had to pick between paying like, say for either the Steam machine or the next Xbox, if I had to pick between a $1,000 price tag for a machine that could also do like PC stuff, or like $700 for a console that was specifically solely a gaming console and couldn't have those like PC features, yeah, give me the $700 console that only plays video games. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
I'm not buying a video game console so that I could, read news online. I don't care.
Right.
Just
You're not
give
using it
me
for that. Now, if there's
exactly.
some other features in there that make it worth it, the average person who's buying it for their kid for under the Christmas tree, they don't care about all that. The kid's not going to care about that. He wants to be able to get on there, turn it on, load up a game, and start playing right away. Now, if they add streaming capabilities and all this other stuff that, people like us might use for our YouTube channels and that kind of thing, I could see some benefit to that higher end hybrid console where we would use that. But not everybody's going to use that. So
Yeah.
you've got a niche market there.
Yeah, I think that'd be a bad idea to be like, oh well, we're gonna add, we're adding all this extra technology. That's why it costs more, because some people like to stream, and it's like, okay, what does that have to do with? There's more people that like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. You're gonna add those features on there too and cost even more. It doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah.
for all those online features, there's already existing ways to do that. There's already existing ways to like browse online and to stream and to look at Instagram and social media. You don't need a console to do that and to charge a higher price. Just
You would think
do what's
Xbox would
been
have
working.
learned this. They did that with the Xbox One. Oh, look, here's the Xbox One. It does all the things you want to do on watching TV and all these other things, as well as play video games. And here's the what was this stupid thing that used the motion sensors?
The Kinect.
The Kinect, yeah. And it's got that too. Didn't need any of that. All you wanted to do was be able to play games on it. They had all this extra stuff, which drove the price up, which also gave a PlayStation a chance to get in there and really undercut the price because they didn't have all that BS. You just got a controller and a console and you played games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Like they're making literally the same mistake. They didn't learn before. It's like, oh, with the Xbox One, you can use it as like a TV controller and you can scroll through the like now playing menu and stuff. It's like, but nobody asked for that. Nobody cares. Nobody asked
Well,
for a
I
Connect.
never
Nobody
used it.
cares.
Never
Yeah.
used any of that. The only thing I ever used the
Yeah, I
Connect
think
for was telling my Xbox to turn on.
yeah, I was about to say the same thing. And even then, that was kind of a useless feature. It's like it's like I don't care about spending extra money just so I could say Xbox on,
Right.
you know.
When I can simply hit the
So
button on the controller and it turns on.
yeah, but yeah, so I think it's going to be the same thing where Xbox is going to make a console that does all these features that no one asked for, and they're going to, you know, have a really high price tag and be like, "Oh, well, that's why we built all these features that we think people would like." It's like, "No, did you even ask anybody? Did you even like create a poll like would you like these features for a higher price?" Because I guarantee you everyone would be like, "No, just make a video game console that plays video games and make it for a reasonable price." That's why the Nintendo Switch is doing so well. It's like it's a game console that plays games.
Yeah.
That's all.
But I
Just
mean,
do that.
yes, I use my streaming services. Like I'll use my Xbox to access Netflix and those kinds of things. And that's fine. Leave that stuff on there. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be your biggest selling point of this because everything does that now, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
maybe
like
they
I've
have come up with some unique things that will, draw gamers to it but they got to be something really unique that gamers maybe they didn't think to ask for, but they will really like it. We have to wait and see what comes out with this. But if it's like I said, like it's like the Xbox One when it first came out, look at all this stuff that you don't really want. It's gonna fail.
yeah, and honestly, so this is kind of a hot take and I'd love to find out what everybody thinks in the comments. But for this hot take, if the next Xbox completely did away with apps, I don't think anyone would care. Like if the next Xbox did not include Netflix or YouTube or Hulu or streaming or anything, I don't think anyone would care because you can go online and buy a Fire Stick or whatever and it's like 20 bucks, like a Roku or a Fire Stick and it's like 20 bucks. Like to me, mentally, if I could save $300 off the next Xbox by just buying one that doesn't have all those apps on it, I'd be fine.
Yeah, but I
But
don't think the apps drive the price up like that. Not those
yeah,
things. And I like having them on my Xbox because I don't have to switch between devices. If I want to stream, I can just boop. Okay, I'm back on that. I don't mind that. I think that's a good feature at this point and should be an expected feature by now because it's not a big deal to
I,
have that on there. And the menus and the with the processing power you have on your Xbox, if you've used the Fire Stick, scrolling through that menu is a pain in the butt. It's slow. Its processor speed is terrible. Whereas on the Xbox, I'm flipping through things and finding what I want to find and watch right away. I like that better. But
meh,
it's not a huge selling point for the console. It's something that is expected at this point on every console.
yeah. I mean, with the Fire Stick that I have, it's like 30 bucks. I haven't had any slow menu speed or anything like that. The only thing I could see being a problem is having like a dozen remotes, you know?
Yeah.
Like okay, I got to switch over to the Fire Stick. Okay, let me switch over to my other remote. But the only feature that I see that is valuable having an Xbox for is I've noticed that when it comes to live events, those you can only rewind with an Xbox. And what I mean by that is, let's say there is, of course, you know me, Ray. I'm talking about wrestling,
Of
but
course.
an example, a wrestling example, is the Royal Rumbles coming up, right? And let's say it starts at 8 o'clock and I jump in at 9 o'clock. Well, I want to see it from the beginning, but I missed the first hour. With an Xbox, you can rewind it to the beginning. With my Fire Stick, I can't. I can only watch live.
Right. There's no hard drive on the Fire Stick,
Yeah.
which is why you can do it
Or,
on the Xbox.
yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's the only real value I have to watching anything on streaming on the Xbox is if it's a live event that I'm coming in late to. But other than that, no, it doesn't really matter. But yeah.
But that's our show for today. I thank y'all for joining us. Like Mike said at the beginning, like, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you think of upcoming consoles and the prices and the chip crisis and what your plans are. Are you going to try to build a PC before the prices really get drastic, more so than they already are? Or are you going to wait for the next console, or just play on the console you got now because it'll be supported for a while? But thanks for joining us. Later.
Peace.